What's an experience you don't ever want to go through again? Diarrhea on a train. Diarrhea on a plane. Diarrhea on a boat. Diarrhea in a moat. Could you on a train? Could you feel the pain? Or would it most likely be in vain? My God, is that brown rain? Uterine lining biopsy. No Anastasia. It is okay to scream, we understand. Last year my doctor suspected I had some blockage in one of my fallopian tubes. I left to work on a lunch break for a quick check. They discovered that one of them was 100% blocked and they blew out the blockage right then with no anesthesia or warning. Then I had to go back to work. Probably the most painful thing I've ever experienced. Around the same time, I also had a biopsy of my cervix with no anesthesia. I've concluded that anything non-sexual that involves my reproductive system is going to be absolute hell. You poor gal. That is terrible. You know, they actually have anesthesia they can use. I learned this. Insist on it. Don't let them torture us. WTF. That pisses me off, but living in the US, I also feel like a dollop of anesthesia would have cost like $600 out of pocket. Sorry, I think you meant to say $1,800. I like to pretend my insurance will help me. Sorry, that's $1,800 after insurance. Having my house flood. Especially when it's a natural disaster, because there isn't enough labor. 3 years later and we still have bits and pieces unfinished. I feel you. 1 year post-Hurricane Florence here. Business was flooded and we are still not back in there. No flood insurance at the time, so I spent the first 6 months after the storm just trying to find a way to finance repairs to the building. There are still people in the community sleeping on family members' couches. Hoping everything continues to come together for you and your loved ones. The resident came in and took a chair. Asked if I wanted my parents to leave the room for the conversation. I said it was fine that they stay. She then told me my 2.5-year-old had leukemia. I wouldn't wish the last year on anyone. Duck childhood cancer. Edit, wow, this really took off while I was out trick-or-treating. Thank you for the awards, concern and well wishes. He is in remission and doing well, though he still has another 2.5 years of treatment ahead of him before he rings the bell. His protocol is long. He's pretty traumatized from all the shit he went through, which has been pretty hard, but we're working on it, and to be fair, we're pretty traumatized too. He's scared of change and strangers and needs a lot more hugs than he did before, but he's still a little badass. Here he is ready to head out trick-or-treating imgur.com. Getting a call that my son had gotten hit by a car and was en route to trauma center. Duck that day. Kidney stone. Yes. God yes. Awful stupid things. And I know people who have awful diets that consist of just chugging pop all the time or that sort of habits and they never get them. I drink water like a damn ocean creature all the time and I still get them. And once you've had them one time you know the pain of them, and if you ever even have a twinge of pain again that signals they are coming back, you go into total paranoia state. I've never chugged water, cut out all the salt and other tips like that so fast in my life until I felt that kidney stone movement again out of the blue. And I'm a chick, it's even shittier for men. My sympathies for guys, because if they were hell for me I can't imagine what it's like for someone with a penis to pass those damn things. Mine fortunately was small enough that once it made it to my bladder I didn't have any more pain. The movement from my kidney to my bladder was the worst pain I've ever felt though, until I got some Percocet. I've heard from women that they found them more painful than giving birth. Not sure if you can speak to that or not. I've had kidney stones and given birth. Kidney stones seem worse because they feel arbitrary and there's no pattern. You're not getting a baby out of the deal, and there's no way to measure progress. I think the pain is pretty equivalent, though. Waking up to my mother screaming and crying after finding out my oldest sister had passed away from internal bleeding and complications with her liver. All I heard as soon as I woke up were the howling cries of my mom. I thought it hurt to see her cry, but when she cried like this, I lost it internally. Staying with and hearing my grandma cry and call out for my grandpa in her sleep in the days after he passed truly broke my heart into a million tiny pieces. Edit, thank you, kind stranger. I took my grandpa's death relatively well, in his 80s, fully functional, died in hospital after a week's stay. I think he even kinda knew last time I saw him. But when I saw my grandma, it broke me. In 2 days, she literally aged 20 years, I couldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it with my eyes. Not again, please. My paternal grandmother is currently dying at the age of 103. Said my last goodbye yesterday and it broke my heart seeing a once vibrant, feisty Sicilian lady asleep in the hospital bed, so thin and so old. But at least she's comfortable and not in any distress, and she is surrounded by loving family. When my maternal Gma was dying, I kissed her goodbye one last time and she gave me 4 or 5 quick kisses just like she always used to when I was a little kid, and I left the hospital in absolute sobbing mess. My grandpa died 21 months later. He quit smoking at age 50 but 22 years later he was diagnosed with lung cancer. He was absolutely heartbroken when the love of his life passed away and I wonder if that contributed to him getting sick. I'm sorry about your grandmother BTW. It's never easy to have to see that. Waking up to find my husband dead on the couch. He was only 26, as was I, and I was absolutely devastated. I found my wife, 35 at the time, dead in the bathroom, not suicide. Just a couple of years before that, her younger sister was killed in a car accident. Sorry for your loss. I found my boyfriend of 5 years and father to our 4-year-old daughter dead on the couch December 22, 2018. I still don't remember a thing from that morning. The doctor said my brain just blocked it out. I'm sorry for your loss. Therese, no pain like losing your significant other. I'm sorry for your loss. December 22nd, a strange day for me. My mom died on that day 2011, my wife's funeral was on that day 2014 and my friend's mom died that day, during the funeral. We didn't have kids, we were working on it. I now have a girlfriend, which I have a kid with. I can only imagine what you've gone through. My house burning to the ground. Losing the only place I've ever called home. Losing all my belongings. Losing everything. But that wasn't what hit me the most. What hit me the most was standing there watching my house fully engulfed in flames. And knowing there is absolutely ducking nothing I could do to help. That was the worst feeling of my life. Edit, for everyone asking. It started as a grease fire. Edit 2, holy crap this is blown up. For everyone wondering. It was inevitable. No, it wasn't water on a grease fire. Sadly, I know this feeling so well too. Even worse than losing my house, belongings, memories was losing my cat who was stuck inside. Tears me apart every time I think about it. Sending you hug. X. Oh my god, that is just horrific. I am so sorry for your loss, I really hope you are doing better now. My mom has end-stage breast cancer and watching her health and spirit deteriorate is the most painful experience I've ever known. I'm so very sorry for you and your mom. I had surgery, chemo, and radiation this year for breast cancer and it sucked, but I'm thankful it's an option for me and I'm still here. My heart goes out to you. Truly. Thank you for the kind words. I hate that you had to experience those things, am very glad you are still here. Wish you all the best. Being stuck in a mental hospital. It's not like in the movies, but it's the feeling of being so close to freedom yet so far away. Yes. I was in a general unit. Most everyone was nice, but there was like 2 or 3 out of like 10 that gave me a weird vibe. One being my roommate. I hated it. There was nothing to do except take pills and talk in group. The day I knew I was getting out, my mom came to get me. She had to wait 3 hours in the parking lot. When I asked what time I was leaving, they kept saying when your ride gets here. I called my mom over an hour ago and she's been sitting outside waiting. Living paycheck to paycheck. I'm in a comfortable position now and don't need to worry about bills or if I can eat that day. This guy fills his gas tank all the way up. I often feel like I made it because I don't buy cheap paper towels. Becoming homeless. Truly a terrifying experience and I never want it to happen again. Edit, wow, I'm getting a lot of reactions on this. I'll do my best to reply to everyone. To all of those who are currently in fear of becoming homeless, I hope you'll be able to get out of this situation as quickly as possible. Stay strong. Edit 2, when I was talking about becoming homeless, I meant being homeless, jobless and without a vehicle or any money or form of income. Edit 3, for those who want to know more about my experience, I made a thread here, www.reddit.com. Rama comments 17 in bipolar Randy Washamless for a year because I remember my church doing a secret mission trip that was actually a trip to a homeless simulation. It was an experience some people set up where for a weekend they'd make you go through the life of someone who is homeless. Your supplies were limited, your meals per day were limited or dealt in an unfair way, and a lot of the activities were things like gathering cans or searching for food. The simulation ended up traumatizing me on an emotional level because I was isolated by the people I thought trusted and loved me as much as I did them. I was almost treated like an outcast to my friends, and the only person who cared enough about me to give me the time of day was a random girl who had no association to my own group. It made me really realize how lonely it is to be homeless. Maybe not everyone feels the same way, and I was only in this simulation for a few days, but it's a crippling feeling. No one deserves to be alone, especially in situations where you already have nothing. I'm really glad you're out of that mess, and I hope that you're doing so much better now. Edit, thank you for the awards. I've actually never gotten any before, so thank you. And thank you guys so much for giving the original commenter awards as well. They definitely deserve them. This sounds terrifying. But also you obviously learned a lot.